Welcome to the Computer Literacy Center's online instructional video about Microsoft Excel functions. Excel functions take in values and do calculations for you. This saves you time and energy trying to determine specific quantities in your spreadsheet. My name is Luke Davis, and I will guide you through this tutorial. In this video, we will insert functions into an Excel spreadsheet to calculate different quantities. If you would like to follow along with this instruction, please make a copy of the start file and save it as your own. In Microsoft Excel, functions follow a common syntax that starts with an equal sign, the function name, and any arguments in the parentheses. For example, in our spreadsheet, let's select cell N2 and type in an equal sign followed by the word sum. Excel displays a pop-up with different functions to choose from, along with a help prompt about what each function does. In our case, we want to select the sum function to add values together. To accept this suggestion, we press the Tab key or type an opening parenthesis. Now the dialog box indicates that the function is expecting a list of numbers to add together. Let's select our food cell in the January column, type a comma, and select the food cell in the February column. To add the two values together, press Enter. In cell N2, we now see a total of $768.68, indicating our total food expenses over 2 months. This process can be further simplified by selecting multiple cells at one time to calculate a sum over an entire row or column. For example, let's select cell N2 and press the backspace key to remove the old calculation. Let's type the sum function again, but this time let's click on the January food cell, and while holding down left-click on the mouse, drag the cursor over to the December food cell. Let's press Enter. Now, Excel has calculated our total food expenses over an entire year as $4,743.19. We also have other totals that we need to calculate, such as the total money spent on gas or rent. Since we already wrote a sum function, we can simply copy and paste it into the next cell. However, this will only work if the data we want to add together is in a row with the same number of columns as the food row. This is done by clicking on cell N2, pressing Ctrl or Command C together, then selecting cell N3 and pressing Ctrl or Command V together. This total is from adding up all the values in the gas row to give the total amount spent on gas. An even simpler method to calculate totals is by using autofill to copy formulas. To do this, let's select cell N3 and hover our mouse over the green square in the corner until our cursor becomes a skinnier black plus sign. Then, let's click and hold on the fill handle and drag the cursor to cell N7 and release. Now that we have all the rows added together, we can also use a handy tool called AutoSum, which will try to detect which rows you'd like added together in one simple step. First, let's click on cell N8. Then, let's select the AutoSum button in the Editing section of the ribbon. Excel then assumes we would like to add all the values above cell N8. Since this is correct, we click Enter and we see that the total expenses for the year were $30,109.39. On top of typing a function into a cell, we can also insert functions using the Formulas menu. For example, what if we wanted to calculate the monthly average amount spent on food? Let's select cell O2 and then navigate to the Formulas menu. When we click on the Insert Function button, a dialog box appears. There are several ways we could try to find a function we are looking for, such as using a search box or filtering by category. When we click on the category dropdown, we see that Excel has a library of functions available. We can search by categories to find a specific function if we know what type of calculations we are trying to perform. Let's select the Statistical category. Then, let's select the Average function and click OK. The function is then inserted into cell O2, and Excel displays a Function Arguments dialog box. This is where we will pass the cells we want to average together. To do this, let's first remove the values currently in the number 1 field. Then, let's left-click the January food cell, and while still left-clicking, drag the cursor over to the December food cell. Then click OK. The monthly average for food is then calculated as $395.27. To extend this calculation to the cells underneath cell O2, let's click on the fill handle and drag it to cell O7. Now we have the monthly average for each expense. The sum and average functions are only 2 of the many functions available in Excel's function library. Feel free to explore the various other functions that are available. When we copied functions using the copy and paste method along with the autofill feature, we were using relative cell references. This means that the cells the function was referencing to do its calculation would move and the function was extended into new cells. To illustrate, let's practice working with relative and absolute cell references. In the first small table, we have columns for two numbers and their total. We would like to add the two numbers that are in each column. To do this, let's click on cell D12 and type an equal sign. Then, let's select the number 46, type a plus sign, and then select 22. Now we press Enter. The total is calculated just like we expected. Instead of repeating this process for all the numbers, we can use the autofill feature by clicking on cell D12 and dragging the square handle down to cell D17. The totals are then calculated. To investigate what is going on, let's double-click on cell D14. In the cell and the formula bar, we see that the formula is adding cells B14 and C14. When we use the drag handle to extend the function to other cells, the references for which cells will be added together also moves down. Let's move on to the absolute cell references. Instead of adding two values that are next to each other like we just practiced with relative cell references, we are going to add cell values together that can be anywhere in the spreadsheet. More specifically, let's add 25 to each number. First, let's try our previous method to add values together. Let's type an equal sign in cell G12, select the number 46, type a plus sign, and then select the number 25 in cell J11. When we press Enter, we see the expected value of 71. Now, let's use the fill handle to extend these calculations down to cell G17. All of the totals besides the first one are the same as the starting number. Why is that? Let's investigate by double-clicking on cell G13. This formula is correctly using the number 15, but it appears to be referencing cell J12, which doesn't contain any data. That is because we are still using relative cell references, which means that as we extend calculations into new cells, the references move accordingly. This isn't what we want in this case. Instead, we want to always reference the value 25, or in another sense, whatever value is in cell J11. To do this, we will use an absolute cell reference. Let's click on cell G12 and press the backspace key. Now, let's type an equal sign, select the number 46, type a plus sign, and select the number 25. However, this time, let's press the F4 key on our keyboard to add $signs in front of the letter J and the number 11. If the F4 key isn't bound to create absolute cell references on your computer, you can also type a $sign in front of the letter J and number 11. When we press Enter, we again get our value of 71. Let's extend this formula to cell G17. Now we see that the totals from adding 25 to the numbers in column F are accurate. When we double-click on any of the totals in column G, we see that each formula references our absolute reference cell. A major benefit of using cell references is when you need to update the values in the cells. The totals will be updated as well. For example, if we change 25 to 100, we see all the totals change to match the new value. In this video, we inserted functions into an Excel spreadsheet to calculate quantities in a timely manner. If you would like to learn more about Microsoft Excel or other computer literacy topics, visit our website at weber.edu/clc.